Hey guys, welcome. What was that? Hey guys, welcome to the Shrewsbury Biscuit podcast. I'm your host Alex Whiteley, and joining me, the Biscuiteer joining me today is Dee. Hello.
Hey.
Right.
Now Al's voice is going because Al has been here since 9 o'clock this morning, and now it is just gone 3. And how many people are you speaking to today so far?
We're going to have done 7 by the end of the day.
7 by the end of the day.
One for every day of the week. That kind of works out really well.
Yeah, you're going to have no voice left.
No. I never shut up, really. It's one of those things. The reason I do this is because my mum was like, "You talk too much." And I'm like, "What? Yeah."
No, it's a talent. It's a talent. It's not a burden. It's a talent.
I mean, it depends what you're saying, really.
I have seen you on other podcasts. Yeah, it is very much what you're saying.
I mean, there have been podcasts over the past where I've just rambled. Come in early in the morning. What's the latest example of that? I was doing an interview with someone, and I was just so tired. I think it was was it Beth Heath? No, it was the Pure Rain guys.
Yeah.
And it was a Sunday morning, and I woke up. I was a little bit hungover, and I was on a Zoom thing, and I was kind of like, "Hello and welcome to the Shrewsbury Biscuit podcast."
You're going to have days like that, though. You're going to have days when you're just exhausted.
I guess. I
think people don't realise that you work full-time, but it's not just full-time, it's nights.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah. And I had to cancel. We were meant to go to the Hall's Fine Art auction as well, and I had to cancel that because I was finishing work. I was going to go straight from work, and I was just beat.
You cancelled it in the morning on me.
I did, and I was like, the drive home was the most interesting thing because I was kind of like, I couldn't barely see. I was just.
Well, they say driving tired is more dangerous than driving drunk.
Yeah,
isn't it?
Yeah, I haven't killed anyone yet, so we're good.
Yet? Oh my gosh!
Today, this is part of our open studios. Thank you to everybody that's come in so far and is going to be coming in later. But joining us right now is Andy O'Brien. You may know his voice, his videos. He's been everywhere around Shrewsbury. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good evening, good afternoon. What time is it?
Yeah.
3 o'clock, but it's really dark outside and raining and horrible.
Yeah. Now, I'm pretty sure a lot of people listening to this know who you are or know your name. Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself before we get into anything?
What's your name and where'd you come from?
Yes.
Well, Silla. No, my name's Andy O'Brien. I'm a Shrewsbury-based lad. I grew up in Holscott. I spent most of my youth going to Grange Senior School until I got to year 9 and my parents realised he's not hanging around with the right people. So they took me out of that school and they sent me to a lovely school in Bastchurch called Corbett, where I finished the rest of my GCSEs.
Yeah.
I kind of always knew as a child what I wanted to do. I grew up in a chip shop. My dad had a chip shop. This is a bit like the Paolo Nutini story, but without the looks.
Paolo Nutini.
Because he grew up in a chip shop.
Yes.
Did you know that?
Yeah, I've heard that, yeah.
So I grew up in a chip shop. My dad had the chip shop, which is now, I believe, Flaming Great. We don't say names and stuff on podcasts,
go for it.
Abbey Foregate,
which is Abbey Foregate, but back in the 90s, where the football club was thriving, absolutely. And he was the first person to open till 4 in the morning, so that was fun.
Did he drag you into doing stuff as well?
Oh yes, I earned my £2
free labour.
Money. Yeah, the peeler went down. Get the boys in.
Yeah.
So I grew up. There was always music in the family. My cousin was a very talented drummer, guitarist, and his dad was on the circuit. So I picked up things off them, showed an interest at an early age, 11, 12, and music was my favourite subject at school, apart from dinner time and lunchtime. I like sport, I like PE, but, music was something I... what's the word?
You aspired to.
Yeah. Like fly go into the light or
Drawn
something like that.
Yeah.
They call it vocation, don't they?
Is it vocation?
Yeah, it's something that you're born to do.
I love it. Yeah, I love music, whether it's watching other people, got to be careful what I say here, watching other people, playing myself, or just being involved in anything that's live, or whether it's covers or original stuff.
Yeah.
It really attracts me, and it always has done. I don't know many people that don't like music.
Yeah.
And if there is...
I've met them. I've met them.
Yeah,
I've met those people.
That's so weird. Music's an amazing thing. It can change your mood. If you're driving, like I always think that when you're listening to music in a car, it's a totally different sensation to listening anywhere else. Or like listening to it live in the pub. different vibe
Yeah,
to listening
definitely.
anywhere else. Yeah.
Yeah, you listen to things differently, don't you?
We've just had the 90s revival guys in here.
Oh, did you?
They're amazing guys, they are. And I was saying, like, my music taste is I always call it bipolar, because it's what I'll listen to, like 90s dance music. I'll listen to NWA. I'll listen to James Blunt.
Then I'll go
I'll
home and listen to Ed Sheeran and cry.
What's happened to Ed Sheeran? Where's he gone?
Oh, God, I don't know.
I can't understand the hate for Ed Sheeran, by the way. There's a lot of people really don't like him, and I'm like, why?
I think he's all right, but he's definitely one of these people that if he didn't have a good voice, he wouldn't look the way he does in people's eyes.
A bit like Coldplay, I think. I mean, I like Coldplay. I don't
Coldplay.
understand why people dish
I like
Coldplay.
I think the biggest
I like
one
Coldplay.
is definitely Nickelback,
Yeah.
because I love Nickelback.
Yeah.
Chad Kroger's voice is
Imagine
an
Spider-Man
instrument.
without that track.
And their drummer, they've got
Yeah.
one of the best drummers
Yeah.
on the planet. Like, I've been to see them live, and they always do
People
that thing.
forget these are people. They're not just,
Yeah.
robots that are,
Programmed.
they're people. They've got feelings. They've got families. They're real people that have probably worked hard all their career.
Yeah.
So we spoke about this a little bit before, but what's your go-to genre?
I don't really have one. I mean, when I grew up, this is a bit embarrassing, really, but my friends, they used to collect packs from a place called Flip in town, which was, they used to have records playing upstairs where you could go in and try your records, and you'd have record players at home or DJ decks. Yeah, that's it. So my friends had listened to like Hardcore Heaven and Dreamscape and DJ Vibes, MC Lively and stuff like that. So I'd listen to stuff like that. I grew up with my parents, that they listened to. My mum listens to all the cheese back in from 60s to the 80s, from the George Michael to the Duran Duran and
Bit of Bowie
Spandau
in there.
Ballet, and then my dad likes the rock and roll stuff, and he likes what I call it love-making music. The soul, the kind of, he likes Simply Red and stuff like that. But then again, he likes, the Rolling Stones and stuff like that. So I've always been around music.
That's a good background in music, though. That's a good,
it's good head start,
good
isn't it?
ingredients,
Yeah.
isn't it? Yeah.
And I don't know. I can remember when my dad did get some spare time, my dad used to like playing pool in the pub, when the pub was an amazing thing. And
Back then.
back in the day,
Way
you
back
put
when.
a quid in the jukebox and get 5 plays. And I remember there'd be a lounge and a bar in them days. And I remember my dad, he'd shut up shop, say, "Don't tell your mum." He'd go and have a few games of pool, maybe a pint or two, before he went back to reopen the chippy. And
Nice.
he'd have a game of pool. And I remember looking through, you could see through the bar to the lounge. And I remember in them days that bands would rehearse, because the lounge wouldn't be being used. Food wasn't, restaurants and that weren't as popular then. You used takeaways or... there wasn't things like, there probably was McDonald's and Burger King, but it wasn't as big
Not
as
as
it is
big when
now.
we were kids, no.
Yeah. And I remember looking through and just seeing bands practice, and they'd say, "Come and have a listen, mate." I'd be 9, 10. And I'd come in there and it was like, I don't know, it's just, my mind just, I can't remember a lot of my childhood, but I remember everything to do with music.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody I met through music.
Yeah.
And everybody I have met through live music, it's always been decent people.
Yeah.
They've always had some depth to their soul. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to go too deep.
And this is the problem that we had during the 90s with a lot of the bands, the slander that was thrown on the newspapers about the Gallaghers, and for example, like they'd see him stumbling out of a nightclub and they just write this ridiculous story about him. And this guy's probably going through a hard time, and he's got life, and
It
he's
sells,
People
it makes
forget that
money.
They're human too, don't they?
yeah.
It's no different today with Facebook. If there's a crash outside, everybody film it or take a picture and put it on Facebook.
Yeah, and everyone's
it's
got their
just
own
in the
opinions as
human,
well.
isn't it?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
someone will say, "Yeah, God, he was doing 90 and this happened," and realistically, it was an old chap and it was an accident. And things just start like that. But yeah, I don't know. I listen to all kinds of music to wrap it up in a nutshell. And what have I been listening to? I watched the Jules Holland show. I was hoping to get down to Albert Shed and watch Sonic Boom last night, but I was supposed to be in Blackpool doing a tribute show to Richard Ashcroft.
Oh, okay.
I had 2 nights with a James tribute band. We sold out 2 social distancing shows.
A tribute? He's not dead, is he?
What's that?
He's not dead, is he?
No, I know, yeah, usually you make more money, don't you, when they're dead? But no, Richard
That's why you said a
Ashcroft-
tribute. I was like, have I missed something?
No, I do all his material, and I do an Oasis one, but obviously there's a lot of Oasis tributes out there. There's not many Richard Ashcrofts.
No, that's
so
good.
I kind of get all the work with that. So say there is an Oasis band playing, I'll open, or So I was hoping to get down to Albert Shed last night and support my mate Matt Smith,
Yes.
who's in Sonic Boom, who plays the guitar sometimes for me in my Oasis tribute. And for one reason or another, I couldn't get down. I ended up doing an hour in the shed on live stream.
I watched that.
You watched that, did you?
Yeah, I saw it come up. I was like,
That's
oh,
cold.
click.
Um,
I know, I was like, as soon as I clicked on, you were like, oh, it's freezing in here. You were trying to sort your heater.
It is a real
yeah.
shed. People think because I've got lights and stuff in there and it's studio quality sound that it's not a shed. Believe me.
Well, you also got sometimes you have the lights going on in there as well. Yeah, it's
you've
brilliant.
got to create
It's a
that.
good setup.
I got to go to the Jules Holland show once in the audience and I was amazed on how simple it was. It was in, do you know, like the Grange Community Centre? Like a corrugated kind of community hall. It was just in one of them.
No way.
And I was amazed. And all the bands were walking around like we're speaking now. There wasn't any, oh, don't come near this act. Don't come. There was the
No eye
Vaccines,
contact.
Laura Marlin, I had Blur. Just all walking around.
Oh,
You
I
could just
love
tap them on the
Blur.
shoulder.
I love Jules Holland, by the way. I love it so much. the Shropshire virtual show, right?
I was about to mention this.
Why has nobody done that in Shrewsbury?
Well, this is something very interesting. I'll let Al say this.
we went on. We did our live bits during the day, and went on stage as well to sort of introduce the acts, right? And my method was I wasn't going to write down any notes. Shane was pacing, looking at his notes. He had written this script and he was pacing up and down.
Shane's the guy that just left.
Yeah, Shane. Yeah, and I said to myself, channel Jules Holland, because nobody does it better than him, right? But I did literally. I was like, channel him, don't be him. But it was so cringy. I went on stage and I was like, ladies and gentlemen, the dirty rocking scoundrels, and I sounded just like him, and it was just so cringy.
But the best thing about it is that we were watching basically because we were live. We also had the televisions where we could see ourselves, and the camera work was phenomenal.
Yeah.
And then I was talking to them, the people doing the camera, and they've actually worked with Jules Holland before. Haven't they?
Yeah.
And I was in the back of their van watching them do all the live editing as it goes along with and it's absolutely phenomenal some of the stuff they do.
Charles,
I
from
don't
Micro
think
Video.
I've seen anyone as professional as Jules. That it's just some people it's acting, some people it's, and you can just see looking through his eyes that the music runs through him.
Yeah.
It's not put on.
I love
it's not
that.
to make money.
I love that he can have like someone like Stormzy or something on, and
Yeah.
he will just push up his piano,
Piano.
and be like,
Yeah.
What keys it in, and he's off.
and you don't say no to Jules Holland.
No.
You don't say no to him if he's going to play music with you. I remember watching Jamiroquai, because I love Jamiroquai. I think it is
I've got
great.
a friend that's a tribute to Jericho.
Really, but I always thought it was like techno. I always thought it was techno music, but until you see the band actually playing, and I was just, wow, they make that music like that. That's what Jules Holland.
People get changed a lot once they're found. I hate the word fame. I hate the word, but once they. There is a story. We were talking about Ed Sheeran before, weren't we?
Yeah.
I don't like using Ed Sheeran as an example, but everybody knows Ed Sheeran, so they can.
I think the best example is the Arctic Monkeys, because they were the first band to go like viral, I guess.
Yeah.
Because they'd hit a #1 before they'd even released an album
I think
physically.
even if you liked other genres of music, I think there's always one Arctic Monkey song that everyone really likes.
Yeah, but Arctic Monkeys did something very interesting to me, because they started off with one genre of music and they ended up with a different. They did all these strange guitars,
Different albums with different sound. Do you know what I mean? Different types of music, if you know
I was
what
like,
I mean.
no, go back to the stuff you do before.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
what
It's
I
like
like.
now, I think there's some music that's out that I wouldn't really even give a genre. Say, for instance, like there's Billie Eilish,
Yeah.
and when you talk to her about, like, I've seen interviews and she talks about genres, she says that she doesn't think there should be genres. Because she's very, I don't know even what category I'd put her in anymore, because she's so varied. And then she also did the James Bond theme tune and all things like this. I think by putting a genre on an artist, you're limiting them.
I think the only way of explaining it, and you've hit the nail on the head, is Prince as an example. Prince lived in a house with its own shops and its own. He kind of segregated himself away from society and to concentrate on himself. And I think, when your friends say, oh, I'm having a break off Facebook, because it's either frying their head or they just feel like there's too much negativity going on there. I think they do it full time. Just so that they can focus 100% on themselves in the studio, what they're eating. Because I think musicians are athletes, really. People don't see them as that. But I know from standing up on stage for 3-4 hours without a break, it doesn't look hard, but to any random person walking past, if I said, there's a guitar, just do that with your hand for 4 hours.
Well, I was on stage for like 2 minutes earlier this year, wasn't I? And even then, just all the lights on you and everything like that, it's just, I was warm, I was sticky.
Yeah.
I'm so jealous of people that can naturally do it. My friend Matt Johnson, who you probably know from Albert Shed, he's a great guy. I love Matt to pieces. And when you speak to him, he's just a normal guy, just like yourself, right? Yeah. But you give him a guitar and he turns into a flipping genius.
And it brings people round.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm so jealous. What's the first moment you realize where people around you sort of realised you had a gift, sort of thing?
When I left school, when I was at school, I'm 38 next birthday, so we're going back in time a little tiny bit.
You're still young. You still got time to go.
Still young. I've had a previous life, and I've got another one coming. I remember being at school and being that age where I wanted to sing in front of my friends, but I didn't want to lose the coolness with the lads at football. You know what I mean? Yeah. Are they going to appreciate it? Are they going to think...
I think that's still a thing, isn't it?
Yeah. I think it's a little bit easier now, but back in my day, it was a little bit harder. And
if you're going to start singing Celine Dion or, Britney...
I think these days you could do your own version and get away with it.
Yeah.
Back in the 90s, if you were to do that, you'd get a dead arm or you'd get... Do you know what I mean? And ridiculed for it. The world's changed a lot, and I think it's more acceptable. And I think with social medias and YouTubes and stuff like that, lots of people are scared to put their foot in the water. Once everyone does do it, everyone's doing it. But I think the moment for me was I did that step, and I went from the lads saying, "What are you doing?" to the girls showing a little bit of attention, going, "Oh my God, his voice. Oh my God." They look at you in a different light. It's kind of watching a film, say Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah.
You watch it at the cinema, you come out and you want to join the army. It's that feeling, it doesn't just sound good, it makes you feel involved.
So vibrations, man.
Yeah.
There's genuine science to that good vibration.
Yeah.
It's when you're at a live show, you feel that. You feel the music, and it's just it's
you feel each other.
It's a different vibe, isn't it?
You're all in on the same. What else could you? I don't think you could compare it to any other feeling.
It's also the emotion, I always think, in the performer's voice.
Yeah.
To the song, the connection to it.
You can always relate to each other, and you can relate to the audience.
And I think different artists have different feels. Like, for example, right, the first time I ever went to V Festival, for example, right?
You cool kid.
Yeah.
I've been a few times.
Throughout the day, I'd seen bands. I saw Echo and the Bunnymen, and I saw Athlete. Do you remember Athlete?
I love you. I love that.
Did you go the year the Madness was at? I went the year the Madness was at. That
no,
was
but the
phenomenal.
thing is, I saw all these bands, and I saw Feeder as well. But I was like, I need to get for Foo Fighters, right?
Oh yeah, I saw.
There is no feeling I've ever felt in this world when Dave Grohl comes on and it's like dun 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 dun, dun and everybody goes nuts. Like that electric in the air was just brilliant. And then they headlined with Coldplay. Nowadays it'd probably be the Ray round. I don't know, but like to go from that sort of energy back down to Coldplay, and then they just calm everyone down.
Yeah.
That just displays sort of how a different music
it all
has
boils down to money and who's current, who's had their peak and who's has been and stuff like that. To me, I listen to music and I make my own opinion. I've never been the type of person that goes and stands in the corner with them lot because I like them lot. Yeah. I've always stood in the middle and understood everyone's. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You liked Feeder.
I love Feeder.
I actually got to do a tour. It was only 2 dates in the end with the lead singer of Feeder, Grant Nicholas.
If you got his details, exchange. I want to get him on the show. I want to get him on my other show. Or like we've got this US
I don't know
UK.
what he's doing now, but he's probably one of the nicest guys I've met. I don't like name dropping, but I've met some of my idols. I've worked with some of my idols. I've DJ'd for some quite big names.
How's that for you? Is it one of those things where you're like, or did it just like, okay, conversation, let's do this?
I thought my wife would be like that, but she kind of gives me that. She grounds me and makes me realise these are just people that are doing what I'm doing, but a bit more advanced. I did a gig in Shrewsbury, actually, at the Lord Hill. I had someone, because I do weddings and stuff like that, and do the DJing, and someone contacted me and said, do you fancy an 80s birthday at the Lord Hill before it closed? Quite a while before it closed. I said, yeah. They said, the only thing is you can't play any Toya Wilcox. I said, that's a bit of a strange. You'll realise when you get there. So I got there, there was people, it was an 80s fancy dress, it was packed. It was a successful business guy, and I knew a lot of people there from gigging on the circuit and doing private functions. And they said, basically, we want you to introduce Toyah Willcox to the stage. The guy that's booked Toyah is a massive Toyah Willcox fan. I don't know if you've heard of Toyah Willcox. You know who Toyah Willcox is, but if you Google her, you'll know a lot of her songs. And basically, I was a warm-up DJ act for that.
Wow.
So music's strong, man, and I think if you stick at it, and this is what I don't want to become a big head, or someone that's, oh, look at him again, because we are show-offs musicians.
I think you've done it on a fantastic level, though. Like I've never met anyone who's ever had a bad word to say about your performances what you do. I think yourself and your mum can always be your worst critic.
I still owe her 20 quid.
But I've seen you perform at the Butter Market, all places around town, and I've also seen you perform at like pubs in the middle of the countryside. Like I've seen you in Westbury, the pub that I've seen you perform there as well. But now you're doing a lot of performances in your shed, and obviously because this terrible thing has happened. Yeah. But I haven't seen many other artists push like you've been. You've been doing like it's been pretty constant. Like even last night we were saying that you were on there. How is that for you? Is it totally different?
I've got to be honest. Being cooped up and not being able to express myself through music live has been a disaster in my mind, and it's really I've struggled mentally because I've done it since I left school at 17. I remember my first gig at the Swan in Frankwell, which is now the Olive Tree Tapas.
Yeah.
I know I was 15 when I did my first gig there. I couldn't even afford a proper amp setup and stuff like that. So I think like the mics on stands now. Yeah. I think I got my dad's hacksaw and I chipped away at one of my mum's. You remember the old book readers that sat in the corner?
Yes.
With the light on that you tapped your foot on to put the light on. I hacksawed the manipulating bit for the book. And I used that as a mic stand until I could get enough money to buy one. What was I saying? I'm going off on a tangent here, aren't I?
It's now performing in your shed.
What's it like? To now perform in my shed, it's kind of going back to those times because I look around and it is a shed. It's a shed I actually bought off. I've got two sheds in my garden, both quite large sheds, but not large in terms of music venues. 6 by 12 foot.
It's a nice shed.
It's all right. It's no double glazing. It did used to leak. Yeah. I've done a few repairs on it. It's got a double felt roof.
Nice.
Just so it doesn't leak on all my gear.
It's the shed of sheds.
It's a famous shed now, I think.
Yeah. And I mean, we do fall out, me and Albert Shed, sometimes over the copyright of the name Shed. But mine is a real shed. It's not a makeshift shed. Yeah, there you go. And it's not made it...
It's an inanimate object, though. Surely you can.
I love it. It's at the bottom of the garden. Yeah. It's like the Poddington peas.
Oh,
we go down the bottom of the garden. We turn on the phone, and my audience is there. It's a lazy way of gigging, but it's still a way of me interacting with the people I love that have supported me for so long, and listen to live music.
Yeah. Well, over lockdown, I would have it on near enough religiously on my laptop in the kitchen and in the background, and there'd be so many people watching. I think as time went on.
I think we got up to 557 on the busiest night, and I was a bit overwhelmed by it. And I went through a bit of a hard time with it being my main job and obviously feeding two children. And I thought, I don't know how I'm going to live. We went into lockdown. The government weren't helping musicians. They didn't see it as a job that kind of people needed, which I could understand, but I still didn't get my head around nobody representing people.
It wasn't just musicians, though. It was artists, photographers, artists of all kinds.
Yeah.
And
they were just overlooked, weren't they?
Have you seen the video on Goldie on Facebook?
No.
I'll show you that afterwards. It's absolutely great. It's Goldie doing a bit of comedy, but he's in a cleaning uniform outside his art gallery, on his hands and knees, scrubbing the floor. And I don't want to get into politics too much, but it's kind of having a dig at the government to say, please help the musicians. He's saying, Rishi, I've retrained. I'm now a cleaner. Don't worry about my MBE. And he's got a picture of him with Prince Charles. Don't worry, music can't get you through hard times, blah, blah, blah. And
it's not a multi-billion pound industry, you know.
5.2 billion, I believe.
Exactly, ridiculous. And what I love about what you do is, okay, so this isn't me trying to... The Shrewsbury Biscuit has been recognised as a fine example of hyper-local podcasting because we haven't gone after the world. we've gone after Shrewsbury, right? This is not after, but we want to support Shrewsbury.
You love Shrewsbury like me.
Yeah, exactly. And this is what you've done. You've created your own little micro universe where you've got your own fans. Yeah, but I mean, you didn't go, I'm going to conquer the world. I want to be on Wembley. You're like, I want to offer music to people locally.
I want to see Shrewsbury Biscuit. I'm the type of person who wants to see someone else conquer the world with a little bit of my help.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Not enough people do that. There's plenty of people that want to play, but there's not plenty of people to encourage that playing.
Yeah, and I think that's what's beautiful about what you've done. And I think what that can do is it creates if you do want to take that next step, you can take these people with you, you know? And I think that's the genius of it.
It's like there's been quite a few people that I know that went to school in Shrewsbury and like that, and have now moved away and done their music further away and grown, like Zach said.
Yeah.
And his music is absolutely brilliant. But at the same time, I think I listened to yours and your live ones from your shed probably more most recently, because you're doing them more and more, than I do his. And I think it's very much like, it's not so much because you're here, but I think it's like we go back to supporting your community, isn't it? Yeah. And like what we do here is like we class ourselves like we don't get paid for what we do. And what did we call this before? We were saying to Shane, like trying to give us a name. Support platform, wasn't it?
You're rich in other ways, I always see it. Like today,
well, we get to meet so many amazing people.
Exactly.
So many amazing
and that's
people.
the same with my job. I mean, I've gone to a position in life now where I just have to take the gig no matter what price it is. Because that place is struggling too. And I think if everybody helps each other once or twice that year, so for instance, I know my worth, I've built my reputation up, and I know what I should be coming home with to support my family. Mm-hmm. But I also know that Shrewsbury needs things, and if I'm not doing anything that day, I'll go down and help and cheer on that football team or show my face or if someone asks me, how do you do a D chord?
Yeah.
You know, if I've got the time, why not? And I think that's what I love about Shrewsbury. Watching my dad with the chip shop, you know, he did it obviously as a business, but he also did it because he loved people. Yeah. And I think the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, does it?
Yeah. And I think there's going to be a hole in the music industry as well, because it's all going to be... I think the music companies, the big production companies out there, the moguls, I guess you can get, they're going to get what they want now, aren't they? Because they're going to be able to develop music and the arts from an image that they want
for a while.
But I think there's going to be a rebellion.
I think there's going to be an influx. I think if my brother Matt, my big little brother, said to me, Andy, what you're doing in the shed is incredible. He said, but do less. Yeah. So do 4 a year. Stop doing one every day.
Yeah.
Because that's what people want. If you take it away a little tiny bit, and
then as soon as you're on, everyone's going to be jumping on it.
But that's the lesson I learned from Mr. T, the episode that you listened to, the ice cream guy. He turns up once a month or something, because if he was here every week, people get used to it and they wouldn't have so many people.
It wouldn't be such a niche, would it?
Yeah, exactly. But like when it comes to music, I think things have changed. Have you seen that documentary that Jared Leto did? I think it's called Artifact. It's about how music artists are treated and how they don't really earn anything. The big ones that that they'll get the cars and they'll get the house, but as far as like how much money an album will make, it'll make it all to the big company, not to the. So when they said they want to leave the company, they were like, right, we're going to sue you for $30 million. They're like, we don't have $30 million. Anyway, they did this documentary to show that artists are treated badly by these big companies. So I think what they've done now is they've gone after the naive young people that they can push out, and this is why we're not seeing the singer-songwriters and the bands and the people that can think for themselves.
We see it in smaller companies as well, like McDonald's and places like that.
Yeah.
People that come back from uni and that need a job, they need money. They'll employ people like that. And it's the same in the music industry. They'll find someone, I don't want to say average, but someone they'll work for that less money. They'll cover them in glitter. And they'll push them out there. But what musicians need to do, and it's the same with every industry, you guys, and I'd love to help you guys let more people know about it. I think what you're doing is amazing. That's why I'm here today. I just think we should stick together more. I could play at one venue and another venue get a bit funny because it's not on their patch, but it's around the corner. And we played here last week, but what's he doing? Why not help each other?
Yeah.
Support. Like the Big Busk.
Yeah.
Why not have that artist? If we all work together, we could actually do a database that says, then you wouldn't need to advertise because everyone in their mind would know, oh, Andy O'Brien's on at Albert Shed at this time, Crispy's on at Loopy Shrew at this time. The same day every month.
Yeah.
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 Wow.
You've got those Shrewsbury minerals in you. Like
You
we
do.
talk about this on the Biscuit all the time. There's people that just want to support everyone else. Everyone in this parade, they all support each other, right? And we support other companies. Other companies support us, and there's just this web of people that just communicate and help each other.
The snowball.
Yeah, and you've
Yeah.
ingrained that. That's ingrained into you as a Salopian.
Yeah.
You know, because I think it's important, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've been lucky enough to be all around the world with my music. I still get inboxes on Facebook saying, how much would it cost me for you to come to my wedding? Where did I have one the other day? It was a beautiful little village in France. And if the COVID wasn't happening, like a shot, I'd be there tomorrow.
I think that has held a lot of people back, hasn't it? With this situation going on, I think a lot of people have also seen that you're not just Andy O'Brien, the musician. You've got a couple of other things going on in the background as well. Yeah.
And I'm still learning who I am. I know I can, I think I can sing. People enjoy my singing and playing the guitar. I've been in a few bands. There's still people who don't know I was the bass player in the
I don't think you'd be
Clock
here
Tower.
on the Shrewsbury Biscuit if you couldn't sing. You
No,
know,
you only have good singers here. We should do maybe a song with all the Shrewsbury Biscuit.
Oh, here we go.
No,
Every
Shane
podcast.
owes us-
Twisted Tea
Shane
with rap
owes us-
or something like that. You know what I mean?
Shane owes us Toto by Africa. He
Oh,
does.
what a tune!
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, he does.
Yeah,
yes,
he does.
he does.
Yeah,
Maybe we could all cover that.
Yeah.
I could have it on the
Weezer did an
panpipes.
amazing. Weezer did an amazing cover of that. It was so good.
Weezer?
I love Weezer so much. That
You've got to
guy.
be a similar age to me. I'm going
Yeah,
by your musical.
Yeah. I think you're about 4 years older than me, but
Yeah.
Weezer are a band I used to listen. They were about when I was in the 90s and stuff like that, and the noughties.
Yeah.
But they came back in a big bad way over the last few years,
Yeah.
and they released that Teal album where they just did covers. They did Waterfalls by TLC.
Yeah,
Like,
I
they
remember
just covered
when
it
they
for
released that,
for the fun of it, you know. I love that. I love Rivers Cuomo. I think
There
it's
was
fantastic.
someone on. It's actually on Spotify now. I'm gonna have to figure out who it is. But they've been covering songs by Vanilla Ice,
Wow.
but in the acoustic version.
I actually had an idea the other day, Dee. I thought, what do people want in this bad time? It's hard for a band to play pubs now with the social distancing, and people want to get up and dance when they hear a band.
They do, yeah.
Acoustic artists are a bit more listening.
Yeah.
I do get people up dancing to an acoustic. I still find it strange, but if they're enjoying themselves. But obviously, with what's going on now, we're lucky to even be live because obvious reasons of the virus. But I thought to myself, I cover most music. Like you said, from Madness, Oasis,
Yeah.
old as Beatles, Rolling Stones.
How vast is your knowledge of playing music? If someone walked up to you and went, Iris, Goo Goo Dolls, go, could you do it?
I've studied stuff by Henry VIII. No, I'm actually, yeah, I mean, I think it's like you guys setting up today. For me to have a go on that, it'd probably take a bit longer than it would you. You come in and just press a few buttons.
Yeah, but I know it,
bang,
you don't,
it's on,
yeah.
because you're doing it all the time. It's the same with me with learning songs. I could charge a little bit extra for a wedding to learn a song, to walk a bride and groom down the aisle and play that song. So I've had to, it's my craft. There are other things I do, because music's slow at the moment with live. I mow lawns. I'm the lawnmower man.
Yeah.
I just joined the fire brigade. Can't talk too much about that because I'm in training at the moment.
Nice.
But I've joined the local fire brigade because I just love community stuff. It's for love, not money. Money helps, but I do love Pontesbury, and
It's a good village.
yeah, it's the best.
Yeah.
It's the
It's got
best.
good
Where the
pubs
heart
there
of
as
music-
well.
Did you know this little fact about where we live? Actually, Dee?
Go on.
Sorry.
It's fine. Crack on. It's Shrewsbury Biscuit. It's Pontesbury. It's fine.
Wonderful Tonight by Eric Clapton was writ just up the road from where we live.
No
So Ronnie
way.
Lane owned a house called Fish Pools, which is in between where I live by Zenna's and a pub called the Drummer Monkey. Do you remember the Drummer Monkey? It was the Callow, now Abel's Harp.
Yeah. I was as soon as you said the fish pools.
Fish Pools. So that was Ronnie Lane's house. Ronnie Lane is the Faces.
The fish pools is in it's not. Is it near Wednesday, the tractor place?
That's right, yeah.
Does it have fish pools outside? Still live
No.
there? Because if it's called the fish pools, that's where my parents live.
No, you're joking me. You're absolutely joking me. Do your
Oh
research,
my
man. Because
gosh.
Ronnie Lane was obviously the catalyst. Of
We keep meeting people who keep going, oh, I used to live there. Everyone's used to live at the fish pools. It's terrifying.
Is it Ichikuku or something like that? The main song by the Faces?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, wow.
You know the song.
Because it used to be a little cottage, didn't it? Years and years
So it's an
ago.
old farmhouse.
Yeah, it's an old farmhouse. And then it was turned into a fishery. And then my parents got it around about 5 years, 6 years
If you go on
ago.
YouTube and type in Fish Pools, Ronnie Lane, there's a
Yeah.
documentary.
No
So
way.
Ronnie Lane
Make
is the
notes.
catalyst of a lot of big bands, including people like Rod Stewart, Ronnie Wood, big stars. And obviously they made their money in London.
So you would just sit in this house and write.
Basically, they'd escape London and they'd come and they'd sit there, do drugs or whatever they used to do. And they'd sit around a fire and they'd write songs. They gigged at the pub just up the road, which was called
I've just
the
typed
Drummer
it into
Monkey.
Google to remind myself later on
Good
to look
girl,
it up.
I'll remind you. And Wonderful Tonight was written there by Eric Clapton.
That darling, you look
That's it. It's the wedding song.
wonderful. I'm not doing that one.
So there's roots to music in Ponsbury, D.
Wow.
I suppose it's a little part of the reason I live in Ponsbury, because it's not only a beautiful
Do you
place.
know where they're going to start letting people perform in pubs again in Ponsbury?
I don't know, because when I moved in, Shrewsbury's a big place and you kind of not get lost, but there's lots of people doing what you do. But when I moved out to Ponsbury, the first thing neighbours said was, "Oh, Andy's moved in. You know that lad that plays the guitar. Get him down the pub." and the smaller the villages, usually, I find Shrewsbury is amazing. I love Shrewsbury. It's it's the roots of everything for me, and I'll always be part of Shrewsbury. But when you go out into the little villages and the surrounding areas, you'll find when people say they're going to be at a gig, they're there the day before. Not oh, I can't make this one, or sorry, this happened. If
Yeah,
one
like
goes,
I was saying, I've seen you perform
they
in
all
Westbury,
go. Yeah.
which is just around the corner, really, isn't it?
people talk. They don't need Facebook around there.
No, they don't.
People
no.
tell each other. They knock doors and say, "What are you doing the weekend?"
You go into the local co-op
Yeah,
or Hignets,
exactly,
and
yeah.
everyone knows everything. Yeah,
And I love that. That is like, it's organic. Is that the word?
Yeah, of course, yeah,
It's
yeah.
organic, and if
word
you
of mouth
could
is
if you could
amazing.
bottle that and sell it, God, we'd be rich.
We can. It's in the 7. Just the loop. You know,
I know what I'll be doing on the way home.
because I can guarantee if this lockdown and social distance, everything wouldn't be going on, you would be at the plough.
Yeah, I
You'd
mean,
be-
I had a gig booked in at the Nags, which is
Love
the
the
pub as
Nags.
you go in on the right.
Yeah.
It's brilliant food and stuff like that. And it's run properly. It's beautiful looking. It's even nicer in the summer. And they've never really had music. And I moved into the village and we worked together. I've done a couple of shows. I think I did their 7th birthday there.
Yeah,
Something
yeah.
like that. And live music it's a funny one at the moment. I think the popular people are getting by and getting gigs. We're having to sell ticketed gigs rather than it be a free entry gig and the venue pay us. We're having to work with the venue and say, listen, we'll say to people, it's table service, social distancing, acoustic gig with Andy O'Brien, and say, it's this price. People should get together and support it because it's good for everybody. And that way that the venue aren't struggling to get the funds to pay you.
Yeah.
They can make off the bar and the act still gets...
Well, it shows it's fully possible. Like I saw a video of you performing in the Butter Market, and that was all obviously table service and social distancing. And everything. But it shows that this, because music, like me and Al, are very big into music. Music's a massive part
It's
of...
part of my vote.
Yeah, it is. It's
Runs
part
through
of
my
you.
veins, yeah.
But like you said, it's been taken away from us. And I think showing that that's still possible, that we can still have... Obviously, I understand that places like the Bull, it might be more difficult.
Yeah.
Or the Hop might be more difficult.
Yeah.
But other places, like Albert Shed...
Well, like you guys, I've
Fantastic.
always been the type of guy that tries, if I'm giving coal, turn it into something better. I've always seen a way around things and tried to keep everybody happy. You know, obviously I understand that there's laws, regulations and stuff like that. But I think if we work collectively together, then
We're all in the
anything's
same
possible.
boat.
I mean, it's the uncertainty. I mean, like today, for example, like we're doing this open studio. There's 3 people in a room now. We're socially distanced, right? But I still worry about what people are going to think, you know, and that's stupid
Yeah.
because we are socially distanced and it's
Definitely.
fine. But like, we just don't know what's around the corner, do we? You know, and I just
Well,
want-
it was released the other day, wasn't it? This might be going on till next summer or something like that before we start seeing anything slightly lifted. Even
which
more,
I think's
or-
heartbreaking.
More
But
podcasts. So always see a good light at the end of that.
But I was going to say, but like you and the guys from the 90s Revival, or
They've
Matt
done amazing,
Johnson,
haven't they?
Yeah.
Even I was tuning in and
Yeah.
giving shout outs.
150,000 people.
Absolutely incredible. And he's a mechanic by day.
Yeah, well, do you know what I mean? These guys just try. They're like, let's do it in the kitchen, put it on Facebook Live,
Incredible.
bam. You know?
We should do a gig together, I think.
Yeah, you and the
90s
90s
Revival, Andy O'Brien. Imagine
wow,
that.
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay. I'm
Could
going
be on something
He's
there,
on
mate.
it,
Get
he's
the
on it.
contract sorted. There could be some cash
I'm going to message him
involved.
right now. I'm literally.
He's got his phone out.
I always try and, I don't know, I love watching Dragon's Den. Is
Oh,
it?
yes.
I've always been an entrepreneur. I've always seen the good in everything. And I've always think anything's marketable to a certain
Yeah, I think it's being able to see that, because we're all under a very dark cloud at the moment, but there's that little silver lining that's peeping through. And I think it's the people who are able to see that and keep pushing on. I think it's like we were saying about what we're in at the moment, this pandemic is absolutely terrible. But it's done wonders in a sense for the podcast. Yeah. Some people have been able to start businesses through this by growing them online because people are shopping more online. So their online businesses have bloomed. There's been local restaurants that have wanted to go down certain avenues with takeaways that they haven't had time to do before. And now this is kind of forced them to go down those routes that they've always wanted to do.
I'd love to see families. There's been some terrible ones close, and we're still seeing businesses close, especially in Shrewsbury and the smaller towns. But I love seeing the smaller. He's done it. I love seeing the businesses strive that weren't seen as needed businesses, and now are. So places like, let's think of one. Let's say, I've got a good job. I think I've got a good job playing the guitar. Well, if things get worse, I won't have a job.
Yeah.
But places like the supermarket and stuff like that, where people used to look their nose down and go, oh, God, you only work at Tesco's.
Yeah.
Well, when you haven't got a job, there's always a job there for you. So actually, that is a more important job at the moment.
It is,
that is things we need. And without them, the country kind of comes to a stop.
And this is the thing that I loved about sort of at the beginning of lockdown, because they were essential workers. People stuck in the shelves, working the checkouts, they were essential workers, and they got recognition for that for a bit.
Yeah.
for a bit.
Down.
Like,
yeah.
And, I think it put everyone, I wouldn't say on a level par, but it brought them up a bit, because obviously the nurses and the doctors that are on the front lines dealing with that stuff, and he swore then. My mic sounds really weird. I don't know why. It sounds like I'm in a fish tank, but I can't work it out. So with music these days, do you feel like, because you've got this chunk of music, I guess, from the 90s right up until the early noughties, where the singer-songwriters and music that you make was prevalent, whereas now there seems to be like this industry pumping out auto-tune terrible stuff, and there doesn't seem to be like an inspiration to go back to that anymore.
I think things come back round. This is a prime example. The leather jacket, the jean jacket. They come in and out of fashion. Ripped jeans, they come in and out of fashion.
Yeah.
At one point, if I brought them out now, you'd be like, did you see the state of his jeans, man? They were hanging off, the rips. And then the next month, a lot of people start wearing them. Usually girls set trends. And then everyone starts wearing them. They're the end thing. I think things come round circle. I don't want to use cliche too much, but I think there are trendsetters with music, with clothes, it all comes as a package. And I think as long as there's an interest somewhere, other people will show the same interest. And if that person's liked, they'll have a good influence on it. So I think that's why online you get a lot of people like celebrities, or, celebrities that were massive. You see them on an advert and think, God, they must be struggling. He's doing a Daz advert.
I remember the first time I saw Michael Owen on a TV advert, and I was like, what? That was years ago.
When we were a kid.
Exactly, yeah. And you see him on a Morrison's advert, and you're like, that's Michael Owen.
I
what?
know, but at the same time, it's kind of, it makes you feel alive. It makes you feel like, actually, here's a human being. He's got a dad and a mum and everything. and it does make you feel what I'm doing is right.
But even with all these different trends coming on, like you hear like music like WAP, for instance, is a little bit out there.
What's WAP?
We won't get into that.
It's a very X-rated song, the way Cardi B.
We'll just call it WAP from now on.
Oh, I think I've heard it on the radio.
Yeah. But you'll hear stuff like that on like the radio, for instance. But then and you'll be like, oh yeah.
The radio.
He's brilliant, isn't he?
Or Spotify, as you'll go. He's brilliant. Or like or on Spotify or something like that, and you're on Spotify and you're on your shuffle, and then you hear something from Coldplay. If you're driving your car, I would more like to turn Coldplay and stuff up.
But have you noticed Coldplay have took a bit of a move with their sound? So they've gone from when they released Yellow and The Scientist and tracks that were acoustic
like
based.
Party anthems.
Yeah. They've gone to like using drum machines, and they've moved with the times. And if that's what people want, that's what they're going to deliver.
I don't always like that though. I think prime example, Muse. I love Muse. Incredible. But they did the one album where it was not. That wasn't Muse. And they Linkin Park as well. There were another ones that were just experiment. Do an album of a different sound. And then what they tend to do is the Hunting Party by Linkin Park, which is one of the best albums they released on the later stage. They went back to what they were originally doing.
And most people do that in any business.
And you're just like, oh, there it is. Arctic Monkeys as well. I want them to do that.
We all lose ourselves because we get so involved with hearing the good that we forget where we come from.
Yeah.
I think it's coming back to the Shrewsbury Biscuit again. That's why I'm so passionate about Shrewsbury, because I could drive to Glasgow and do a show. I could drive to Somerset, London, wherever. But when I drive back, that feeling I get when I hit the M54 and I come down that bank and I see Shrewsbury, I know this is my place.
Yeah.
London's great. It's great for exposure. It's great for making money. It's great for opportunities. But I tell you one thing it hasn't got is that view and then people. Because
reminds me
it's
of
like concrete.
Lord of the Rings. I want to go back to the Shire, Mr. Frodo.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely. And I think like everybody that you meet and you say, where are you from? You go abroad on holiday. Not anymore, but when you used to. And they say, you could always pick accents. Oh, he's from Manchester. He's from Liverpool. All these strong accents. Where are you from? Can't work your accent out. You've got a bit of farm. You've got a bit of Birmingham, a bit of Wolverhampton. And we're like, no, we're the heart of the UK. It's Shrewsbury. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's nice.
It's amazing how many people don't know where we are, though.
Christmas Carol, I always say.
Oh, it is.
Do you know a Christmas Carol?
Charles Darwin.
Darwin, all things like that. And it was just the people
Shrewsbury
like,
Biscuit.
Shrewsbury Biscuit. There we go.
That's the one.
But no one ever knows where we are. It's like I went to God, I haven't been on holiday for years. Went to Greece about 5 years ago. I don't really leave anymore. I've been lashed to this podcast table. No. But no, so no one knows where you are, do they? But I just go over and say, oh, Birmingham. And I was like, to the left of there.
Yeah. But we're not Welsh.
No, everyone knows where Telford is. Why is that? Why does everyone know Telford, but they don't know the home of...
I always have to use Birmingham as a reference. Especially,
I do.
Oh, yeah, you have to, yeah.
I
Or you
say,
say London, you go, nowhere near there.
Yeah, exactly. I always say the Midlands, and they're like, oh, right, so yeah, Birmingham. And I'm like, yes, but we're still quite away from there.
Yeah.
Not that I don't like, I've got a lot of friends from that area, but I think what we've got is beauty.
We're a different category, I would say.
Yeah, we're a postcard. We're like,
we are postcard, that's a great way of putting it.
Yeah, people pay usually to see what we see every day.
And that's what we're seeing at the moment. There's a lot of people moving to Shropshire because of how vast it is and the COVID relief, because obviously there's not as many people, I've got to say.
Well, when all this lockdown thing, when it started getting lifted and people could come out their homes a little bit more, it was so busy outside my house with walkers. Everyone was coming. Like, I would think about, I'd go on a day out somewhere, where am I going to go? Well, we live in a very picturesque countryside.
So the things that were popular, like taking the kids to Jumpton or taking the kids to
now
Super Bowl on the arcades,
village.
They're going for a walk. They're getting everyone's buying bikes.
Yeah.
So again, it comes back to that. Actually, I'm going to go with this because 1, it's keeping me fit. 2, I'm getting fresh air. 3, why didn't I do this before?
And it's on your doorstep, isn't it?
And it's free.
When it comes to writing your own music, you write your own music.
Yeah.
What do you use as influences? Do you use your area around your life experiences, things like that?
When I haven't wrote a song for a while, just because I think it's hard when playing covers becomes your job.
Yeah.
Obviously, the last thing I was involved in, which was original music, was the Clock Tower. We did some great things. We gigged with The View. I don't know if you remember The View. Razorlight.
Yeah.
Love Razorlight.
Wow.
I walked our album into HMV. People said, their album's on sale in HMV. How did you get it in there? I said, well, I just went and asked. And it got stocked in Shrewsbury, then it got stocked in Wolverhampton, Birmingham, because people like that music. And I worked my absolute heart out to try and tell people about that album. I was proud of it. And I knew that if I could get people just to have a little listen, that they'd want more. And so that was the last time I kind of got involved creatively. When I left the band, I chose to leave the band to pursue more original writing. Started to have a family. We're having kids become my main priority. And obviously with covers and stuff like that, you get more work, unless you're very lucky. And the time I left the Clock Tower was a time where HMV and places, like Spotify and places like that were taken over, and going to the shop and buying a CD didn't really happen unless it was a record or something cool like that. So it's the wrong timing, really. So I just, I got used to playing but originals I've still got songs I've written when I was 13, 14, 15 that I still drop in. I might drop on Friday night at the Butter Market. I might drop Flick the World in there, which is the first song I ever wrote. People say, when did you write that? And I'm like, I was 15. And they're like, really? It doesn't age. Nice. Music doesn't age. And
it doesn't. And do you know what? It emotes a certain thing in you, doesn't it? Music. Yeah. The Flower Show last year, we got to interview Scouting for Girls, and like people are like, who? What? Scouting for Girls, right?
You sing the song, and they're like, oh yeah, or all their big songs.
Isn't that an age girl that's really dirty? Right, yeah. Amazing music, right?
Do you want a job?
That music for me was a really important time in my life when life wasn't great. I was a teenager, school angst, girlfriend angst, all this sort of stuff. This music was happy and it just made me smile. And that
time and a place.
Speaking back to them, music doesn't age. You know,
and I also think like I'm known as an acoustic artist. Really, I do go out and play to backing tracks or be involved in bands. I've got people I can use collectively as a drummer, bass player, but mainly I'm known as Andy O'Brien live and acoustic, plugged in. But I think any song, most songs are written on an acoustic guitar. It's what they develop and do with them in a studio that makes them kind of that era.
Yeah.
If you take any, I heard a song by Stevie Wonder. Can't remember which hit it was, but it was all stripped back. I think everything was isolated. You could listen to the vocals, or you could listen to the that electric sound he has on the keys, and individually it sounded awful. But when you put it all together, wow! Everybody knows that track, and that's the beauty of it all.
I love that. My friend Delwyn used to be in a band called Trader, and then they stopped at 67, I think. They changed it. He's an amazing guy. And I went to Fat Cat in Wrexham to watch him play. And they did, do you remember Dizzy Rascal, If I Went On My Own?
Yeah.
They did that with a band and rock music. It was amazing. They did that with guitars and drums, and it was just the most amazing thing. I love that. Even people can play around with
I'd
music.
like to bring out a sound that's not been heard before. It's hard to do because you always take influence,
Damon
like
Albarn.
Oasis, Beatles. You can always see something in some band. But that's why coming back to the Jules Holland show, I love watching stuff like that. They introduced me to a band that have been bubbling around for a little, I think they're called I have to look on my phone, Lamburnon or something like that. You have to go back and watch it if you want to. I got listening to him today just through Jules Holland showing him on the show, doing pre-recorded in their studio and piecing them all together. So old famous bands and then new stuff that he's promoting. And
has Jules Holland got like a YouTube channel or anything like that? Because if you miss him on Channel 4, you miss him, don't you? You know, I just found a band called
The Lathams.
The what?
The Lathams.
The Lathams.
Absolutely incredible. If you like Arctic Monkeys, they're faster, and these kids look like they're 16.
Yeah.
And
I'm not sitting here making notes at all.
The Lathams, absolutely.
You have to. I'm going to find them. Because I'm looking for new bands, and that's what I love about YouTube Music at the moment for me, because it changed from Google Music to YouTube. Yeah. And they do suggested bands, and one of them was Bad Flower, a band called Bad Flower. Now this kid, right? He talks about self-harm and the anxieties of life and depression and mental health, but it's so naked and so raw and so vulnerable. I love it so much because that's what you need.
It's beautiful, like listening to stuff like that before it explodes. Because I don't know, say for instance the Lathams that I heard of last night, we all hear from someone that it's a seed that's planted and slowly it develops and it grows, and eventually blooms into that massive flower. But that's what Shrewsbury does. You plant that seed and hopefully, do you know what I mean?
Oh, that's a great note.
Or bake a biscuit.
What a great way
bake a biscuit.
Make a biscuit. Absolutely. Andy, you've been amazing. I'd love to get you on again. In fact, when the world opens up again, I'll be back. When the world opens again, we'll come to one of your gigs and we'll do some.
When is the world open again?
It's opening soon, guys. I guarantee it.
Is it?
Oh my gosh, you can't say that.
It's opening soon. It's 2020.
You just made a promise.
2021 is going to be. I'm telling you now.
You have people outside with pitchforks if it doesn't happen.
2021 is going to be the biggest year in history.
It is for music, I think, and for Shrewsbury Biscuit.
Yes.
If I'm involved, it will.
Where can people find you, Andy?
You can find me on social media. Facebook's probably my biggest. Andy O'Brien Live and Acoustic. Can I plug Friday's gig?
Please do.
I'm at the Butter Market this Friday. It's social distancing tables.
Mm-hmm. It's today. We're doing this. I'll release this on Friday. It's today, guys. It's today.
There you go. It's today.
Yeah.
This beautiful day. The sun is shining. Get yourself some tickets. So I'll be playing this evening. Doors open at 6:00. Everything has to be wrapped up by kind of 9:30 because 10:00 things have to be finished. I'll be covering originals, mainly covers. It's table service, there's food on sale. It's going to be a great evening. I've done one a few weeks ago and they've asked me to come back, and I'm really excited for it. It's my hometown.
I'll try and get to one. We should get to
You're
one.
welcome
Yeah,
to
we
come.
should
I'll
do.
give you a table.
Yeah?
I want Shrewsbury Biscuit there.
Yeah.
Well, there we go.
There we go.
There we go. When's it? Okay.
Come and join us.
I'm warning you, we're heavy
Tonight.
drinkers.
I didn't say nothing about a tab.
Okay, we're going to Button Market tonight then. Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it.
Tonight.
Yeah,
God, I'm
okay.
excited. I better go and get ready.
I'll bring a microphone. I'll just come on stage. Don't do that. You've been amazing. Thank you so much
Thanks for having
short
me.
notice as well.
No,
Last
it's
night
cool,
you
man.
agreed to
That's
come on
the way
this.
we roll.
Yeah, but thank you so much, though.
problem.
It was like, as soon as he said, I was like, oh, I've got to contact Andy. Have to ask Andy to come on.
Where's your sleeping bags? Do you guys sleep here? Or?
Might as well. We've been here since.
Al might as well, to be honest.
We've got one more to go. We've got Crystal's cupcakes coming in
Wow,
last.
you've done another one.
Yeah, yeah.
One more, last one. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thanks so much for having me, and yeah, let me know if you need anything, and keep supporting things like this, guys.
Yeah.
I'll be sharing the hell out of this, and hopefully, you know,
Get some love out there.
don't think it's just numbers, quality.
Quality.
Yes,
Quality.
definitely.
Absolutely. Guys, this has been awesome. Make sure you check out our website, which is www.theshrewsburybiscuitpodcast.co.uk, and that is made for us by our friends at Web Orchard. If you need a website, make sure you check them out. This has been recorded at the Parade Shops, which is behind St Mary's, an amazing building. Like you've just said, having a good wander around. It was fantastic, isn't it? To you know,
Beautiful.
lots of character. Make sure you come into the parade.
Shrewsbury Biscuit. There's your little jingle.
You need to make us a theme tune. Mind you, know it's Cosmic Rays have done our theme tune. Shane
I always
Chepsey.
come second.
Thank you very much, guys. Catch you next time. Peace out.